Did the players make the right decision to resume the season?
I think, my personal opinion, I think they didn't make the right decision because in my opinion, it's bigger than basketball, and we have more problems as it is just watching a basketball game goes on. But you have to take in consideration for the ones that want to finish the season because they feel like they're leaving a remark on the court that they're playing for all black people, and they want to keep building off this what they have on. And I understand that, but the players that don't want to play, it's bigger than basketball. They feel like if they take basketball away from this, they can finally hear like understand what they're saying. But in my personal opinion, I think they shouldn't have brought back basketball. I think they should have kept the fight going. I mean, yeah, basketball is something, and sports does bring us all together. But at the same time, we have bigger problems outside of sports that we really need to take care of in order to live a equality life, though, Trey. I ain't trying to sound all politics or nothing, but I always felt like everything was bigger than basketball, and they needed to get away from it so that it can impact the world. Like, hey, we don't need basketball. We really want change. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you because I think this is one of those conversations that's not really a debate. This is a sports show. We debate sports. But this is a conversation here, Clarence. The same way we had this conversation on Wednesday's night show when we had on my man Cam Chancellor, Darrell Owens, and Jonathan Mathis. That wasn't a debate. That was us having a conversation about the social injustices and the police brutality that we're dealing with in our country. So I'm not going to debate you on and say that you're wrong for feeling like that the players made the wrong decision as far as continuing the season. I'm not going to disagree with you. That's your opinion. But I respectfully disagree. First thing I want to say is I think that we have to understand that we are in a tough spot here. Like, this is not an easy decision. I don't think none of this is easy. Like, this is a very, very complicated / hard decision here that the players, that the owners, that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver have to make. I don't think this is something that you can just say, let's make a quick, subtle decision. This is something that takes some deep thinking and some brainstorming and being able to come to an understanding and being on one united front. And I think that's why you saw the Milwaukee Bucks, take the stand that they took, because they felt like they weren't doing anything to impact change being down in Orlando, in the bubble playing basketball right now. Meanwhile, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in their hometown state, you have chaos going on with all these riots going on. And, we had the shooting Jacob Blake with the police officers and stuff. They feel like they're not really impacting what's going on. So they felt hopeless. They felt like we're not really doing anything to affect change in this situation. And so I think because it's such a hard decision and hard situation, I think that's why you got the players at odds the way that you have them. That's why you had all the chaos that you had Wednesday night in that meeting. When it comes to that specifically, I understand why LeBron and Chris Paul and some of the other NBA players were a little bit frustrated with Milwaukee because they felt like they should have been informed of the decision before they did what they did. Also, I think the Milwaukee Bucks should have informed the Orlando Magic as well. So they didn't go out there and just warm up like they was about to play in Game 5 in the NBA playoffs. I think they should have warned them what they were going to do. But also, I don't fault the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Jaylen Brown was the one that spoke up in the meeting. I don't fault Milwaukee because I believe they made an emotional decision to not play Wednesday afternoon. And I feel like at times you have to make emotional decisions, and that can lead to change. So I understand both parties. I understand what LeBron and Chris Paul and other players felt like they should have informed them of what they were going to do, but I also understand that the Milwaukee Bucks, because that's a state that they play in, and that shooting with Jacob Blake and the police officers took place in their hometown state, they felt hopeless. So they made an emotional decision. So I understand both sides. But when it comes to the NBA players resuming the season, I feel like they made the right decision. And here's why. I believe they have the platform to speak to those individuals out there after every game about the social injustices and the police brutality that we're dealing with in our country. I remember a few nights ago after the Clippers-Mavericks game, Doc Rivers had an emotional but powerful post-game press conference. And I believe that post-game press conference wouldn't have been as powerful if Doc Rivers wasn't talking after a basketball game. See, I think the NBA platform gives these coaches and these players an opportunity after every game to speak up about the social injustices and the police brutality that African Americans are dealing with in our country. So I think overall, the players made the right decision because it's going to give them an opportunity to speak up about it consistently. I feel like when it comes to America and what we've been dealing with as a country, I got news for you, Clarence. Social injustices and police brutality was happening 400 years ago in the United States to Black people. Guess what? It's going to happen moving forward. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. So therefore, I believe you have an obligation to go to work and perform. I believe that these players should play basketball, something that they love to do. And I hate the fact that we're at a time right now where the players have to be affected because of police brutality and racial injustices. I hate the fact that the players have to possibly put on pause what they love to do. This is a game that the players love to do. They love to do that since they've been, born. Like they were born to play basketball. You taking away something that they love to do because of racial injustices in our country? Like I think it's kind of unfair to ask them to not play, given this is something they've done all their lives. So there's so many different things I feel about this situation. There's so many different, thoughts that come to my mind. But I just think them having that NBA platform after every game to speak up about the things that we're dealing with in our country is something that they should take advantage of. And I think them continuing to play, that's going to give them an obviously, chance to do that.
Yeah, like back to what you were saying. Like even the players said in the meeting, like they felt uncomfortable. They felt uncomfortable when LeBron James took the center stage of the floor, and in the situation of that is like he feel like he's a leader and he speaks for all players. But some players didn't feel like they didn't need for him to speak for them because it's a simple fact they have a voice of their own. So it made it more complicated in there because this even think like, is the NBA season even meant to be coming back, or they should really cancel it and really focus on the biggest thing? Like it leaves you in a tough spot though, because sports does bring you together. Sports does bring everyone together and make everything you think about goes away. It really does. But when it's something bigger than this problem, sports brought you together. Player people, white athletes, Asian, whatever. Everybody have to come together and want change. It just can't be like for the Black folks just to all come together and try to fight for change. Everyone needs to come together. That's why I said basketball, it would have hurt it the most because that's what brings everyone together. But if you already got everyone together, everyone needs to be all in on change. Instead of just waiting for a basketball game, it needs to get distracted, man.
Yeah, I think too. I think LeBron, his biggest issue was, okay, we didn't play today. We boycotted the games today. What's next? What plan do we have in place that can affect change? I think that was the biggest issue that LeBron and other players in the NBA had with the Milwaukee Bucks decision. They say, okay, you boycotted today's games. What is the plan moving forward that's going to affect change? And what are we going to do to go about that? I think that's where LeBron was coming from that standpoint. But overall, I think when you look at the NBA and what they're trying to do, I want to give Adam Silver some credit because I think out of all the sports, in America, I believe the NBA has done a hell of a job giving the players a platform to be able to speak up about these issues that we're dealing with in our country. I think Adam Silver, he is a commissioner who supports his players and supports his players speaking up on behalf of African Americans. So I want to commend him and the NBA, because the NBA, make no mistake about it, the NBA is the biggest sports league we have in America besides the NFL. The NFL is number one. NBA is number two. And you've seen after the NBA postponed their games on Wednesday, the rest of the sports world followed suit. We saw baseball, a few games were postponed. We saw MLS, they postponed a few of their games and so forth. The WNBA as well. So we saw that the NBA, they made a move, and then we saw the other sports leagues follow suit. It shows you the power that the NBA has at its disposal, besides the NFL. But overall, I just think moving forward, the NBA players, they have to talk to these NBA owners, Clarence, and they have to explain to these NBA owners what they want. They have to explain to these NBA owners their plan that they're going to put in place. Therefore, the NBA owners can go to those politicians, to those police chiefs, to those governors, the mayor, all of these state representatives, the district attorneys. They can go to those people and impact change. I think that's what we need here. It's one of those things to where I don't remember who said the exact quote, but it's a quote that says change won't take place until those who are unaffected are as outraged like those who are affected. Basically, in other words, we need those NBA owners, those white NBA owners who aren't affected, to affect change. We need them to understand where the NBA players and the African American community is coming from as a whole. Therefore, they can go to the people who can affect change, like the politicians and the other people that's in positions of power.
Let's switch gears real quick. Let's talk about the Brian Urlacher situation. Now, I know everybody was a lot of disturbed by that, but what his tweet said, he compared the Jacob Blake situation to Brett Favre playing on a Monday night game, throwing 4 touchdowns the day before his father died, and he claimed a lot of heart and charisma. So tell me, Trey, what was your biggest reaction to that situation?
I think Brian Urlacher, he is ignorant, and I feel like these comments saying this was really ridiculous and very disrespectful to the African American community. I think he completely downplayed, what's going on right now in our country. And he's one of those people that don't really get it. It's a slogan that my uncle always told me when I was growing up, Clarence. He always told me, he said, there are people in life who get it, and then there's people in life who don't get it. And the ones that don't get it don't get that they don't get it. Brian Urlacher is one of those people. He don't get it. And I think he's one of those white privileged individuals who's speaking out of place here, because I want to know the evidence. I want to know, did Jacob Blake really have a knife in that car? Give me some type of evidence, or give me some, I need some credible evidence to know that he had a knife in that vehicle, because I feel like these stories in the media, they always twist these stories up to make it seem as if these African Americans who get shot in the streets, they are thugs or they're bad people. But yet and still, when someone white gets in trouble or they do a criminal act, they protect them as humans. They make them seem as if they're good people. The kid that wouldn't have killed those people in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the media, they were talking about him like he was a positive kid and did some positive things in the community. And they let him walk right by them after he just killed 2 people. He literally walked by them, and they saw him and didn't even arrest him, and went and arrested him the next day. They did it in a nice way. The same thing they did with Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof shot all those people in that church. And Clarence, they took that man to Burger King on his way to jail. Meanwhile, Tamir Rice in Cleveland, Ohio, in our home state, he had a toy gun at a park, and the police pull up and they shoot him within 5 seconds of being there. Unbelievable. And it's unfair what we're dealing with. And I think Brian Urlacher is one of those white privileged individuals who do not get it.